which is set up across 2 tables.
Scott Steiner versus Nick fucking Gage. Can I say that at the beginning without getting demonetized? Well, guess what? We're going to find out. Two of the most unpredictable performers to exist in the overall history of professional wrestling. One as one of the most well-known, popular, and violent performers in the world of deathmatch wrestling, while the other is a part of one of the most notable and successful tag teams in history before turning into a nationally televised world champion. Both considered unhinged and unconventional by the vast majority of fans for their own reasons, the idea of these two men ever stepping foot in the same ring for a sanctioned match would intrigue even the most casual of fans to tune in. Well, what if I told you that this match actually did happen in 2019 and it's about as chaotic as you'd expect? Well, that is what we will be discussing in today's video. If you do enjoy this video and you want to see more videos about all the random and cool stuff that comes from pro wrestling, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. With that being said, let's get right into it. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I'm fairly certain you know these two men with or without being a regular viewer of this channel, but I will still give a brief description for both. We'll start with the man himself, the leader of the murder, death, kill gang, the king, the fucking god of this shit, Nick fucking Gage. A 26-year veteran, Gage has wrestled for nearly any promotion that has consistently had death matches on their menu. In CZW, he's a 4-time world heavyweight champion and a 5-time tag champion. 4 of those reigns as part of Hate Club with Nate Hatred and his brother Justice Payne. A 4-time world champion in GCW, a promotion once completely built around Gage. He is the first of 2 men to have won the 3 biggest deathmatch tournaments in the United States, that being CZW's Tournament of Death, IWA Mid-South's King of the Deathmatch, and GCW's Tournament of Survival. In terms of mainstream wrestling, Gage might be known best for one of, if not all 3 of the following. On June 6, 2009, CZW held their 8th annual Tournament of Death. Gage took a broken light tube to the underneath of his armpit during the finals versus Thumbtack Jack, accidentally cutting an artery where Gage would shortly thereafter have to be airlifted to a hospital for emergency surgery, and he would be declared legally dead for about 7 minutes before obviously being revived. November 16, 2018, Gage wrestled actor and former WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette in a deathmatch for GCW. Arquette around this time was trying to make right for his time in WCW, which is widely considered to be one of the biggest embarrassments in the history of the sport. He worked 28 dates from 2018 to 2021. One of those took place in GCW against Nick Gage, where Gage accidentally sliced Arquette's neck open with a broken light tube after Arquette moved and Gage slipped, but that whole thing might be a video for another day, so I'm not going to delve too much deeper into it. And then there's July 28th, 2021. Gage made an appearance in AEW as part of the MJF versus Chris Jericho storyline, where Gage faced Jericho in a death match. Jericho won, but during the match, Gage used a pizza cutter on Jericho right as the show went to air a commercial for Domino's Pizza in picture-in-picture.
When you order Domino's carryout?
As far as independent wrestling goes, Gage is probably among the closest anyone's gotten to consistent-ish mainstream coverage. Whether you like or dislike his work, there's usually something you could talk about involving him with most fans. It's that, paired with his willingness to dish and take pain, as well as a connection with the audience that very few are able to achieve in this sport, that makes him the most popular and notorious performer in the wide genre of deathmatch wrestling, specifically in the United States. You don't go into a Nick Gage match expecting this work rate heavy match like he's AJ Styles or Will Ospreay. If you know what he's about and you rate him like the dudes that I see on Cage Match, I really don't know what to tell you. I think that's about all you need when it comes to Gage. I don't really have a creative segue for his upcoming opponent, so let's just start here.
I only care about 2 things in this world, my freaks and my peaks. And when I beat your bald ass down at Fall Brawl, I'm gonna whisper in your ear, size does matter, bitch.
Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, the Genetic Freak, the Big Bad Booty Daddy. However you know him, he is one of the most polarizing names in all of professional wrestling. He started his 37-year-long career alongside his brother Rick as part of the Steiner brothers team, where they are 7-time world tag champions in WCW, twice in the WWF, twice in New Japan, their former NWA tag champions. If there were major titles to be held in the 80s and 90s, there's a very solid chance that they held them. When Scott was a part of the tag team, he worked with a shit ton of athleticism and power with an incredible physique to match. When the tag eventually slow down and Scott got his singles push, he did practically everything there was to do in WCW. A 2-time television champion, 2-time US champion, he was the second to last World Heavyweight Champion in WCW history before the company was bought out in 2001. He did have a brief run in the WWE around 2 years after the buyout took place, and even though it did have some interesting moments in there, like debating Harvard graduate Chris Nowinski over the US invasion of Iraq, or that instant classic he had with Triple H at the Royal Rumble, modern fans will remember him most for his time in TNA. There's obviously the Steiner math promo that's been beaten to death, and it's legitimately the tip of the Scott Steiner iceberg. There's also him doing ring announcements as part of the Main Event Mafia, him talking to Bully Ray about how he has 7 freaks for every day of the week.
I got freaks 9 days out of the week. I'll get 7 days in a week.
His disdain for fat people has been well documented throughout his entire career.
He's fat!
He ran off the fans at the Ring Ka King show in India that one time, and there's hundreds of moments that I'm excluding right now. The only other thing off the dome that I could think of involving him right now includes the time when he was banned from the 2015 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony after saying he was going to kill Hulk Hogan. Like Nick Gage, you don't go into the usual Scott Steiner match expecting an instant match of the year candidate or a classic, and if you do, you're setting yourself up for failure. Him and Gage are somewhat similar in that aspect, they just execute it in very, very different ways. I don't really have anything else to say or show other than the match. For everybody a part of the "where is the fucking story" crowd, I don't know where the fucking story is. I looked everywhere too. I looked under my couch, I looked under my bed. You know, I haven't looked under my desk yet. Let me see if it's under there. It's not under here. This is just a match that was booked for vibes, as a lot of independent wrestling typically is. The King of Ultra Violence versus Big Papa Pump. The match took place for the ICW No Holds Barred promotion at the Party and Bullshit event on February 15th, 2019, and it emanated from the Ultimate Fitness Gym in Queens, New York. I think I covered just about everything, and with all that out of the way, let's get into the match. Steiner makes his way out first using the Jim Johnson theme he used in the WWE. He gets on the mic and cuts a promo on all the fat men and women before the match. Gage comes out to his usual theme, For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica, and greets all of his MDK gang members accordingly. Ring announcer Larry Legend makes the introductions, the bell rings, and the match begins. Surprisingly, this match starts with a standard collar and elbow. Steiner backs Gage into the corner. Looks like he knees Gage near the yam bag region. He rips his shirt off a bit and delivers one of those knife-edge chops into the corner. Steiner continues the assault in the corner. Gage tries to get the upper hand, but it gets shut down immediately. Steiner whips Gage into the ropes for a shoulder block. Gage doesn't really budge, so Steiner tries it again and is successful for the second time. Steiner rips Gage's shirt completely off this time, chokes him with it before doing the same with Gage's red bandana. He backs Gage into the opposite corner to deliver more strikes and chops. He chokes Gage in the middle rope for a few seconds, but the ref breaks it up. A stern enforcement of the rules here. Steiner whips Gage into the ropes again. Gage is able to stop the momentum and attempt to mount a quick comeback. He attempts a whip, but Steiner counters only to eat a jumping shoulder tackle from Gage. Gage then bounces off the ropes to deliver a swinging neckbreaker to Steiner. Steiner staggers to his feet. Gage delivers a lower dropkick to send Steiner out of the ring, and the momentum has quickly shifted in favor of Gage. Gage meets him on the outside. Steiner throws him into the guardrails. He grabs a chair from underneath the ring, and he begins to attack Gage with it. Steiner grabs another chair, hits him in the back, tells a fan to suck his cock, and throws Gage over the guardrail to take action to the fans. Gage gets a quick upper hand and throws Steiner into the merch table. It doesn't really last for very long though, as Steiner does the exact same thing. Steiner throws Gage into the emergency door, grabs a chair, and delivers a covered up CTE special to Gage. Gage eats this like a Super Mario power up and is able to gain control once again. They go back into the ring. Gage sets Steiner up. He goes for a Stinger splash, but Steiner pulls the ref in front of him and gives Gage a crotch shot while the ref is down. Of course, a ref bump in this match was absolutely needed so they could do what they want. Steiner delivers some more chops into the corner, grabs Gage out of the corner, and hits a belly to belly. Of course, he wanted the pin, but he just contributed to killing the official, so that's not really going to happen right now. He throws Gage to the outside, goes underneath the ring, and grabs this door that he props up on the guardrail. He pulls out another door, which he also props up on another guardrail, throws Gage back into the ring. The ref recovers enough to count the first pin of this match, but it's only a 2 count. Steiner whips Gage into the ropes, stops Gage, and locks him into a brief bear hug before throwing him over the shoulder for another belly to belly. Steiner goes for some sort of attack on the middle rope. A grounded Gage is able to get his feet up at the last second, and this might be the momentum that Gage needed. Steiner gets to his feet, Gage gets him down with a spine buster, sets him up in the corner, gives him a face wash. Steiner rolls out a little bit, Gage goes to the middle rope and lands a Vader bomb elbow drop variation. Gage goes for his first pin of the match, but he only gets a 2 count. Gage rolls to the outside of the ring, grabs a chair from underneath the ring, but Steiner follows him out and throws Gage into one of those doors. Steiner stands the other one back up and re-enters the ring as the ref begins to count. Gage makes his way back in though before the 10 count. Steiner steps on Gage's throat, picks him up, and throws him into the ropes, but Gage counters with a float over DDT. They both make it back to the outside. Gage attempts to throw Steiner through that second door, but the fucking thing doesn't break, so Steiner just goes fucking shoulder first. Gage picks it up, hits Steiner with it, and repositions it so Steiner can actually go through it this time, which he does. Steiner gets up, Gage quickly takes him back down, he grabs a couple chairs, goes underneath the ring one more time, and grabs another door to put in between. Gage throws Steiner into the guardrail, places him onto the door, goes to the apron, and hits a Cactus Jack elbow drop right through that door and wipes out the cameraman in the process. Gage re-enters the ring, the ref continues the count that I did not know was taking place, and Steiner gets counted out. Right after this match, Gage cuts a promo, Steiner grabs one of those chairs and launches it at Gage from the outside, but he misses. He is now walking to the back dejected as Gage continues this promo, and that's the end of that. As I said multiple times, you can't go into a Nick Gage match or a Scott Steiner match and expect to see some of the best pro wrestling you've ever seen. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so use whatever criteria you'd like, but with that being said, this wasn't beautiful. It was never meant to be. Trying to break this down as an actual 16-minute match in the aftermath is damn near impossible to do in a productive sense, but it was certainly a great spectacle. That's all it wanted and needed to be, and I think it did a pretty decent job at being just that. To me, it did seem like Steiner really did not want to be there. I read somewhere that Steiner began shooting during the match, but I'm not really sure I could pinpoint where that might have started. Maybe I'm just an idiot. He obviously would have rather be almost anywhere else, but I'm not sure if he really started shooting. I definitely do think he did start shooting after the match when he threw the chair at Nick Gage, but that's all I was able to pick up on personally. Shockingly enough though, they actually did wrestle one more time in Chikara for their King of Trios of tournament around 8 months after their initial match. It was Team Pump consisting of Steiner, Jordan Grace, and Little Petey Pump Petey Williams versus NDK consisting of Gage, Chris Statlander, and Thomas Santel, with Team Pump picking up the win. Team Pump would lose the next round of the King of the Trios, but the series between Gage and Steiner is technically tied at 1-1. And it looks like this tie will never be broken as Steiner seemingly retired in 2023. Scott and Rick were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2022. He wrestled a handful of matches after that, and that seemed to be it for him. I see him on Twitter sometimes just tweeting out random bullshit. I tried to reach out on Instagram to get his thoughts from the match, but I got aired, so we move. As for Gage, he was the face of GCW during arguably his hottest period of time in 2021. He remains one of the most sought after talents in all of independent wrestling in 2025, and even returned to CZW late last year, competing in their Tournament of Death. As for right now, Gage is currently checked into a treatment program indefinitely, and I sent him my absolute best. Saying that he's had a rough year is an absolute understatement, but still, I wish him well, and I hope to see him back as soon as possible if that's something he still wants to do. But yeah, that was Nick Gage versus Scott Steiner. What did you think? Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought about this video, as I look for all feedback, positive or negative. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, so you do not miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace out.